Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, coming off a long holiday weekend, but lots of action in WCS.
Lots of action. It never stops. Great Easter weekend. Hope you and the Joins family had a good one. I know you did, but hope everybody did. But yeah, a lot to talk about. And we're pretty much on the final stretch now from here going forward.
Tate, before we talk about WCS athletics, something that obviously impacts us and those throughout the state, first of all, I want to say thank you for your service. Congratulations on your upcoming retirement. Bernard Childress as Executive Director for TSSAA, a fine gentleman.
I think so. First class integrity. I don't think there was any way he would ever compromise that, the position or the TSSAA. We talked about it a lot on my show. I know you and I have talked about it. Might not agree with every decision that was made, but I do think that Mr. Childress had the schools and the organization, the association, best interest at the forefront of any decision that he ever made. I don't think anybody can argue that. And I read an article that he wrote and the advice he gave to his successor. But make sure you got all the information. Don't be rushed into a decision. I think he did that. He's a guy who he was going to take his time on decisions. He wasn't going to be rushed or forced into anything. And that's the way he believed it should have been done. And I think that's the way he did it. I'm with you. Job well done. And thank you for your service. First class guy.
And one of the things I was looking at his list of accolades, some things that had happened during his time, something that was mentioned was the TSSAA, the middle school teams getting involved. And obviously at WCS, we're now involved at the TSSAA level, TMSAA for middle schools.
It's a lot.
But that, to me, that's something that's big. I think at first it was, we're going to just make it for middle schools, and they didn't maybe really think about some things that needed to be different. They've done a lot of things the past few years to make it better. One of which being at the middle school level, especially, a lot of people still play on independent teams. Didn't get in the way of that being impacting eligibility.
Yeah.
Because that's just what happens at the middle school level.
Well, right. Don't pick a fight that you don't have a chance of winning, right? And he found his way around it and compromised. And, I look back to, I was thinking about it because life goes on and we're all so busy, But, it's here we are 2 years later, but just think about it. I can remember when the pandemic first hit and everybody's, emotional and there were some not so nice things said about him and the TSSAA about, he hadn't announced for sure that we're having football, and I felt like they were always going to do it. They were going to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't pressured into saying something that he wasn't ready to say. And now looking back on it, you would have a better understanding of me. But from my viewpoint, the way he guided us, especially that first fall season through the pandemic, I thought he did an unbelievable job.
I did too.
Or he and his staff.
I did too, really did. And his replacement, Mr. Mark Reeves, someone we've worked really closely with here in Williamson County, it's a good choice.
I think it's a great choice. I don't, I used the word no-brainer at first, and I want to take that back because I don't think that's fair. Because Mathews Gillespie being one, I think there's some other really, really good people on that in that organization that could have done it. So that's not right. I think it's a great choice. I think that's kind of who Bernard had pegged to do it anyways.
Yeah.
I do think that if you had somebody who could do it, I think it's good to have somebody from within who knows what it's like. I've always said this, of course I'm biased. I think you and Dr. Qualls would be great at the TSSAA, and you didn't know that was coming, but I do believe that. I think both of you all would be awesome there. But if you're going to hire from within, and from what I've gathered talking to the coaches, no complaints about Mark Reeves.
Yeah, great guy. So replacing a fine gentleman with another one.
I know the wrestling coaches are really happy about this choice.
Mr. Reeves is great, though.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them, I can assure you, they don't make any decisions without thinking about the athlete and the coaches. And like you said, doing the research.
Yeah, and he's been there since he's a Springfield graduate. He played football and wrestled. You and I have joked about this. If you know this name, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But he wrestled for Randy Thomas. You don't make it through a wrestling season, much less a high school career under Randy Thomas without being at least somewhat tougher. But he was a multi-sport athlete. He was a teacher and a coach, and then he's been with the TWSAA since, I think, 2008. So he knows what he's doing, and I think Mr. Childress was a servant leader. I think Mark Reeves will be a servant leader, and I think that's what we need. We don't need a dictator in my book.
Tate, let's talk a little track. Had a couple different meets that our teams were involved in. First one's at Fairview, Brentwood in Fairview, and I think when we first talked about that, you were maybe a little surprised that Brentwood was involved in that meet. But I think if you look at some of the names who were winners, Brentwood had 8 girls individual winners. That includes the relays, and then 7 on the boys' side. Fairview had 1. They finished 1-2. Brentwood first, Fairview second on the girls' side, and then on the boys' side, Brentwood first, Fairview third, and then everyone else was an out of county team. But glad to see that Brentwood was involved in that, and I think that helps give Fairview legitimacy.
I do too.
As a track program. So good on Coach Brock and Brentwood for being involved in that.
I do too. When I look at that, that's the 2 things jumped out to me. One was what you said, and it looks like we let, which I'm so happy for, we let some of the other Brentwood athletes that maybe, in the other meets weren't the main entry, and come out there and have a lot of success. That's very cool to see. If I'm Fairview Track and Field, I'm looking at this, and we say this about a lot, but I mean, maybe more so than anything, which is maybe volleyball, okay? But top to bottom, track and field, we're the best county in the state. It's not even close. So you look at those other schools and say, hey, Fairview's not up at the top at the Wilco championships. But you look at that, and I think that just goes to show how far their track programs come. Outside of Wilco, which they're the smallest school in Wilco, their track and field programs are really taking a lot of steps forward.
On the girls' side, Brentwood wins the 4x2 and the 4x4. Long jump and shot put, Kirsten Bell of Brentwood. Triple jump, Saba Kent from Brentwood. Blair Visser from Fairview wins the 300 hurdles. Lydia Cromwell from Brentwood wins the 3200. At the 100 goes to Sophia Yount. 100 hurdles, Kirsten Bell, so she wins 3 events.
And look at those 3 events.
It's incredible.
I bet she's a pentathlete.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. And then Sophia Rutherford wins the 800 from Brentwood. What about the boys' results there, Tate?
Well, kind of the same story, a little different in 2 and 3, but Brentwood boys, 184 points. For those that have been paying attention, you're starting to learn a little bit more. You get over that 150 point total, that's domination. So 184, Dixon County and Fairview swap on the boys' side. Dixon County at 93.5 on the boys. For second, Fairview third at 70. So boys individual results, 800 CJ Weaver of Brentwood, the 100 Hudson Allen of Brentwood, Jackson White in the 400, multi-sport athlete. 3200, Brody Chapman, no surprise there. He's the state leader. Unless something's happened that I missed, I don't think I did. No surprise there. 300 hurdles, Aiden Carter, Brentwood. 4x2, 400, Brentwood. So the 184 points, it's not hard to figure out how they got to that.
It's unbelievable. Girls get 186, boys 184. It's, hey man, the rich keep getting richer.
It's an impressive.
Yes.
Well, it's a
machine.
It's a machine. It's a well-oiled machine, man. Coach Fedoris and Coach Brock do such a great job with it. And track and field's always been important there, but still, you don't just show up and run and do that. I mean, that thing is well put together.
Hey, listen, if we need criticism sometimes, give it to us. But I'm thinking maybe outside of Tennessee Mile Split, this may be the place for track talk.
That's right.
I mean,
That's where you can come get your fix.
It's, we're on it.
I can't wait for the grade 8. We got a date, right?
Yes, looking forward to that.
Yeah,
looking forward to that. Hey, a couple other meets that we were involved in, the Volunteer Classic out in Knoxville, Centennial Girls, Page Girls, Ravenwood Girls all participate. Also the Page Boys and Ravenwood Boys, highest finisher, 47 teams. And by the way, it was pretty loaded.
Yes, good teams.
Centennial Girls finished 21st on the boys' side, Page 30th. Coach Johnson, I'm not sure who Coach Johnson is, Memorial Classic there out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Team results, Franklin goes to that particular meet. They win it in girls, they're fourth in boys. Some individual winners, girls shot put and discus. Nora Weaver, again, no surprise. 800, Karina Beard. They win the girls 4x4, and then David Brown wins the 800 and the 1600. So track, just moving, no pun intended, right along.
Moving right along. Hey, we got a lot of, like I said, we got a lot of really good teams. It's going to be fun when we get to the state track meet. You know, we know Brentwood's going to do well, but I think we got about 4 or 5 others that are going to make some noise.
Let's talk a little baseball. This one surprised me a little bit, that Ravenwood took the series against Nolensville. They win that final game 6-1. Winning pitcher for Ravenwood, Luke Koshin, Nick Rahm, 2 for 4. Franklin had defeated Ravenwood 4-2. A.J. Russell, 10 strikeouts in four innings.
Right.
Caleb Anderson with the save. You're seeing that a lot. Russell starts the game off, then the Xavier commit, the junior, Caleb Anderson finishing it off. So Franklin with the 4-2 win over Ravenwood.
That's a nice 1-2 punch. And you mentioned it a few weeks ago. Anytime AJ's on the mound, the Admiral's got a good chance to win. So what surprised you about the Ravenwood taking the series over?
I just felt like going into that, Nolensville was playing at a little higher level, but that happened last year. Remember Summit? Remember their start?
Yep.
We were talking about Summit, and they've got this thing rolling. And then they had a series with Ravenwood where it sort of flipped. Lost their confidence. Talked to Coach Kirby about that. He had a young team and felt like maybe their confidence was hit a little bit during that particular series, and then it went down a little bit from there. So a lot of ball to be played still.
Yeah. The one thing that you hear from all these guys, they all say Ravenwood has a lot of talent. You know, they're worried about, you know, if they start clicking on all cylinders.
Look out.
Look out.
Summit with an 8-1 win over Overton. Summit, you've said this the last couple of, they're playing well. I'm not going to say it, Coach Kirby, because I jinxed you last year. 15-5 overall, 4-2 in the league on the season. Landon Baucom with the win. C.J. Dugan with 2 for 4 with an RBI in that particular game. Page with the out-of-league win, 9-7 over Nolensville. Congratulations to Page, because, again, Nolensville's a quality team. Indy with an 8-3 win over Brentwood. It seems like baseball. Of course, I know it's about the pitching. Depends on who you get on the mound.
Yeah.
Baseball, as much as any sport, at least in WCS, amongst our teams, is so unpredictable.
It's the hardest for me. I mean, I can't. Every time I get on the train of one, by the way, we still haven't gotten that conductor hat yet, but every time I get on the train of one, it's like you said, it's kind of like the kiss of death. It's the Sports Connection kiss of death. So, but hey, Page, you were talking about that Nolensville one. That was their 4th win in a row, and 2 of those 4 was a series win over Tullahoma District. It was big. Page is playing well, man. Coach Rutan's got them heading into the right direction. Got a big series against Marshall County, home of Coach Kirby, Coach Danny Bourne. A lot of baseball lore coming out of Marshall County. So they've got a big series win. If they can get that one, they're sitting pretty. So I like the way Page is playing right now.
Let's talk a little softball, Tate. Summit with wins over Independence and Ravenwood. Last week, Aubrey Brackett, Lake in Canada, 2 hits against Indy. Sonia Hunter goes 4 for 4. That's a pretty good night.
Yes.
Against Ravenwood. Lily Kate Richards gets wins in both games. She had 12 strikeouts versus Ravenwood. She also threw a no-hitter during the weekend against Ray County at the Clifford Kirk Invitational. For those of you that don't know this, Clifford Kirk was a legendary coach from Soddy Daisy High School.
Never disappoint with the nuggets and the gems. We
had to get a little deeper in that research than we thought we were going to.
He was he had a great run at Saudi Daisy. I'm assuming you know this from his many run-ins with your good friend Coach Woods from Beach.
That's right. Had a healthy respect for him, and also Coach Breeden at Riverdale.
Breed Dog.
I know he's one of your favorites.
Oh man, Coach Breeden, he did it a different way, but man, did it work.
Could he do it that way now?
Here, negative. There, don't think so. But here, definitely not.
We'll just leave it there. Hey, Nolensville. Listen, the conductor hat in softball, I'm on the Nolensville train. Ryland Smith, who also, by the way, threw another no-hitter.
Yeah, contributed to the shortage in softballs globally.
4-0-1 at the Spring Classic in Cookeville. Addie Lichty, and I hope I'm saying that right, Addie, 12 for 14.
Pretty good.
Which that doesn't happen in softball.
No.
She was a winning pitcher in a couple of those games, and then Ryland, 25 strikeouts in 11 innings. She's averaging over 2 strikeouts an inning.
Yes.
She did in that term, but I think it's been pretty consistent through the year.
Oh, yeah. They're ready to make a run. Coach Patton's done a great job with that program. Hey, I'm telling you, because I ask the guys and gals, not to take anything away from Summit, because I think it's right now when you ask who's playing the best in Wilco, you get 2 answers. You get Summit and Nolensville, but I feel like I'm getting more Nolensvilles right now than anything.
And the difference, and not that Summit, they don't. I mean, Lily Cates doing a great job on the hill too, but Ryland, she's kind of a next level pitcher.
Well, you've seen it. Not to go back. I mean, seriously, you watched the last 20 years, whether it was the Dixon County run Coach Buchanan had there, or Breeden's run at Riverdale, or Coach Powell's run at Brentwood. A good pass. It doesn't matter more than any sport. If you have because a softball pitcher can pitch every night, right?
That's right.
You have a dominant pitcher in softball, you can go a long, long way.
Well, and I think
you can ride that pitcher all the way to Murfreesboro.
I think about the teams when I was there at Beach that were so dominant. They had great hitting, but whether the coach was Utley or Woods or Smith or Powell, they had pitching.
It's a game changer.
And usually it was one that pitched about every game.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Now, I've been told that's more of a natural motion
I
than
see
in
that.
terms of baseball.
Yeah. Well, and it's also it's easier on the arm.
Because it's a more natural motion.
Correct.
Right?
I would think so.
I mean, I wouldn't think it'd be unnatural if you can pitch.
Well, and the elbow, I mean,
right.
It's not as much.
You don't hear me Tommy John surgeries and so on.
If you have Tommy John, I think, if you have Tommy John surgery as a softball pitcher, you're doing something wrong. Would be my, or find another doctor.
Clifford Kirk didn't teach you how to pitch.
Clifford Kirk wasn't worried about Tommy John's. I know Breeden wasn't.
Hey, soccer. Centennial.
Hey, real quick, little Wilco tie.
Okay.
You know who's got a lot of wins and a few state championships as a softball coach? Holly Harris's father, former lady, I guess she was a Lady Rebel, wasn't she? Franklin Great, her dad, Wendell Harris. I know he's got at least 1, maybe 2 state championships in softball.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. Won a lot of games.
Wow.
A lot of games.
Shout out to Coach Harris. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's not watching.
I bet he hears about this.
Okay. Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Nice man. Great
Yes.
family.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see where Mama Harris was in some articles talking about the first Final Four, talking about the Title IX,
Yep.
was involved in that as a player, heck of a college player at La Tech.
La Tech. I think they won theirs right before Coach Summit went on her run, right?
Right.
Back that the young pups don't know that. Back before UT was the measuring stick, Louisiana Tech was the measuring stick, and Mrs. Harris, maybe that's got to be tough for Coach Harris because his wife is the best athlete in the family until maybe Holly.
And Holly second.
Correct.
Well, I'll put it this way. There's no doubt they're 1-2.
But that ought to make you happy.
And I feel like Louisiana Tech was the first that really made the short sleeve and then the untucked uniform that kind of blended into the bottoms.
Yeah, I don't know what can you imagine?
Just shooting in that.
Well, and running up and down, like those things, it wasn't like those things. Hey, Kevin Plank and Under Armour hadn't come along yet. There was no moisture management, dry fit back then. I bet those things
Straight tackle
hot.
twill.
Oh my God. It was like playing in a weighted vest and playing in a sweatsuit.
Other than that, it was great. Hey, let's throw some sleeves on it.
And a belt buckle. How can we make this as uncomfortable as possible?
And if you don't mind, let's wear some socks up to your knees and some shoes that will not protect your ankles.
You ever heard that story about Doc Shelton at MLK?
I've heard a lot of stories.
He got mad at
Doc.
his team one year, and he said, y'all don't deserve to wear the shoes that the guys before you have. He went out and bought them a team set of Chuck Taylors. Now I'm talking, this was in the late 90s, early 2000s, and made them wear them.
It's probably like playing in your socks.
Well, the sprained ankle total had to have gone through the roof that year, but he didn't care.
You don't deserve
I don't
the
remember
good
him
stuff.
getting fired over that either.
You don't deserve the good stuff.
Not your effort.
Wow.
Kind of like Coach King that year when he bought a green and maroon practice jerseys for the Bruins.
Because of the Franklin Hillsborough dominance.
He was every year, man, we get put out by either Franklin or Jay Johnson or Troy Allen. We're going to get maroon to green reversibles, and they're going to wear those things every day.
And look, you're
man.
taking the order going. Excuse me, Coach.
Probably going to need to get a PO on this one.
Excuse me, Coach. Could you say that one more time?
He's something.
No question. Man that was Renaissance man, so to speak.
Great guy. Could write a limerick, cut a pro wrestling interview, hit the heavy bag, coach some basketball, lead an English department. Guy was unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable. Soccer. Centennial playing well. 6-0 win over Summit. Shutout to Lucas Coons and Dominic Young. They teamed up for that. Goals by Jamison Shannon, Yusur Nava, Rava, Covarrubias. How about that?
Very good.
Roman Hernandez, Logan Brunton. Franklin playing well. Coach, I'm a Coach Burgoyne fan.
You're a big coach. I am too.
Lucky enough to work with him there for a few years. Just a great guy. His teams tend to play really well as the season goes along. Aiden Moss with the shutout. Goals by A.J. Elliott, Travis Fowler, and 2 from Davis Long.
Your man, Davis Long.
Love Davis.
Sophomore. Super sophomores. Multi-sport. Doing all that while also playing a little travel basketball on the side too.
Oh, Coach Burgoyne's not.
He didn't
mad.
freak out and tell him, no, he didn't.
Davis, you got to make a choice. Well, sounds like the choice was he had 2 goals against Ravenwood.
We got to go. I'm guessing he plays soccer the way he plays basketball, and that's pedal to the metal. He's like an energetic. He and Gainer, man. I don't know what they eat for breakfast, but those they never run out of gas.
Put it in your Wheaties, right? Yeah. Hey, Brentwood. Coach Purcell just keeps on rolling. 2-0 win over Page. Good on Page scheduling that game, by the way.
Yes.
Thomas Fields with his 6th shutout of the season. This is kind of what the story was last year with Brentwood, too.
Yeah.
And they exited
Early.
a little bit earlier than they wanted. I don't think that's happening this year.
Oh, they talk about it.
They've got a shot.
It's kind of the battle cry this year. Yeah.
They've got a shot.
They're playing really well.
Jack Boring with a goal. And then this week's gem, Tate, they also score an own goal.
Spell that, please.
O-W-N.
Okay.
An own goal, which basically means that Page accidentally scored it.
So to always go back to your roots, basketball. Is this the equivalent of scoring on the wrong goal?
It is. So what would happen, here's a little different. We had to go to Coach Burgoyne, a little research on this. So in basketball, if you and I both go up and I actually tip it in, but it's on
the offensive
it's on
player,
your basket, you're going to get credit because you're the nearest. On this, doesn't really go down that way.
No.
It goes against the goalie, though, in terms of a stat.
Right.
So it could have been, and I don't know the exact situation, but it could be, hey, I'm kicking it back to you so you can throw it or kick it down the field, and I'm not paying attention, and then I.
Right. So the way I understood it is that there is a difference between a own goal and a deflection. If it's a shot by the offensive player and you are to alter it somewhat and it ends up going in your goal, that's a deflected shot.
Because it was going.
It was, yeah.
I did
It was
something.
a shot on goal. I get the goal. But this could have been, who knows, maybe trying to pass it back, which we've seen. I mean, even in the pros.
We've seen that.
Yeah, that's an own goal. We don't give you the goal, but it is a score. That is a goal scored against the goalkeeper.
I feel like I saw that happen one time with, you're going to be impressed, Tony Miola.
That is really strong.
Remember Miola?
Of course.
Back from the USA teams when they were sort of getting it going?
Sort of.
But not on the men's side, hadn't really.
I want to, yeah.
Landon Donovan?
He was strong. What's the conversation on that afterwards? Like, hey, man,
Don't do that.
don't do that anymore.
And again, I don't know the exact situation. I just saw that it was an on goal.
Yeah.
OWN.
That might be your strongest gem to date.
You know.
And I'm with you. Coach Clapp's been doing it a long time, knows what he's doing. I love that he schedules that game.
I do too. I really do. Because they don't have that many games to schedule. And to take one of your out-of-league games and take on a Brentwood, that tells me he's got plans for the postseason too.
100%.
They had that heartbreaker in the state final last year trying to get over that hump. Got over the hump with the girls.
Right.
And, boy, if he could do 2 in 1 year, wow, that'd be something.
That'd be a mic drop right there.
All right, last item to discuss, girls flag football. We were off this past weekend for Easter. Did you see where our man Charles Pulliam?
I loved it. I hope you were going to bring this up.
He showed up at the game a week early. Listen, what I love about Charles is he doesn't make many mistakes, but when he does,
He owns it.
like the goal, he owned it.
He had an own goal.
I love that. I really did.
I want to know, though, for those that we're not going to disclose, because he's got a lot of fans, man. I could even see him getting some stalkers. So we would never put his family's security in jeopardy here. We're not going to disclose where he lives, but let's just say this. I don't know how. Did he make it all the way to Frank? I think he did.
Well,
That is not a short drive.
he didn't drive from Fieldstone Farms.
Negative. He's pretty even keel guy, but I know if I had done that, I'd have been pretty mad at myself.
Well, maybe he's kind of doing like, Shashevskyville and some of those places because it's such a big game at Franklin this week.
He was going to camp out.
Franklin and Fairview play at Franklin this week. And also Nolensville is there. And if Fairview wins, which they could, it's going to be a mess there at the top more than likely.
Yeah.
Brentwood's hosting Page and Independence, Ravenwood, Summit, and Centennial. So let's talk standings a little bit.
Yes.
So they're at the bottom 3, all at 1 and 5, and they haven't all played each other yet. So we're just going to group them as one group for now. Brentwood, Indy, and Nolensville. In 6th place, you've got Summit. In 4th, you've got Page over Centennial. They're both 3 and 3, but Page won head-to-head. Ravenwood at 5 and 1 is 2nd because of their win over Fairview, who's also 5 and 1. And then Franklin and the Fighting Donnie Webbs, 6 and 0 atop the standings. So that Franklin-Fairview matchup is a big one this week because what's going to basically happen, it looks like, if they win, that being Fairview, it's going to be a 3-way tie.
Yes.
And we're going to have to coin flip it.
Well, I was going to ask.
You can 3-way coin flip, by the way.
Okay. Is that first tiebreaker?
If three, well, it's going to be head-to-head, but they're all going to beat each other.
Right. So let's say, just for conversation's sake, let's say Fairview beats Franklin, Ravenwood, and Fairview all end with 1 loss. Ravenwood's got Fairview, Fairview's got Franklin, Franklin's got Ravenwood. Okay. What's number 1 tiebreaker? Do you know?
Head-to-head.
Head-to-head.
But
I know, but I mean, we've done that.
Yeah, they've all beat.
Okay.
Then you go right down the list.
Not number 1. What's number 2?
You go down the list, and there's still nothing.
Right.
Because they have 1 loss. If it was a 2-loss situation, then you go to the seeds. Hey, who did what against the number 4 team?
So do we ever go to points scored?
No, we didn't do that. And honestly, probably didn't think that through enough. But I wouldn't have wanted to do point differential anyway because that's encouraging run-up score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Forget that. So this will be a all three of you flip a coin, and whoever's got the different coin, you're one. If there's one head and two tails, then they're going to be one.
Wilco coin,
I guess we'll have to do a Zoom coin flip. And then after that, it'd be head-to-head because those two left would have played each other.
You know, I'm big on matchups. You know, I think that's big in every sport.
I do
right?
too.
Charlotte Robertson is obviously a problem. And I mean, you see it. They are intentionally throwing the ball up and having her go get it. So if that ball gets anywhere close to the goal line, I think Fairview's got a problem. They got to keep them out, man. They got to keep them out of the red zone.
Who do you think wins that game?
Well, I'm not very good at picking this.
And we're not doing pick'ems, but I'm just curious.
I think Franklin wins that game
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
because of that. I think they've got. I don't think that's a good matchup for Fairview. Obviously, the doctor of defense has coached up. You were talking about the bracketing and breaking down and pulling flags, no long plays. Coach Hughes, I think, likes to hit the quick hitters.
That's right.
And so I don't think that's a good matchup for Fairview. Now, that being said, I probably just gave the lady and I noticed they've been calling them the Admirals. Is it not? It doesn't matter. I think I just gave Franklin the kiss of death. But I think Franklin wins that game. But I think this tournament is going to be interesting.
Wide open.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's May 7th.
Yes.
May 7th at Nissan Stadium. We'll start at 10 in the morning with the 8-9 seed. Now, what ended up happening, I talked to some of the guys who could finish first and basically said, what would you want to do, you know, assuming you would keep playing? Do you want to play at 11 o'clock, your first game? Or do you want to wait till later? And let's wait later. So they're wanting to play 2, 3, and then 5.
Wow.
Because they said the waiting around in that particular sport is worse. You play a game. They've even said when you play a game and wait one and then play that third one, it's a little awkward.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
as opposed to back-to-back. So they chose the later and go back-to-back instead of 11 o'clock and then play again at like
that
3.
does not surprise me. I agree with that. I see that in the 7-on-7s in the summer for them. Okay, let me ask you, we got time?
We've got time.
I would like to know, out of that bottom group, the 1 and 5s, Brentwood, Independence, Nolensville, you think there's one there that's going to throw a monkey wrench?
I think
if you're these other guys, who worries you the most?
Probably Brentwood. Probably Brentwood because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
I'd say Brentwood. We've hyped them up all year. They got to come through.
You got that, Coach?
Plus, I think he's going to narrow
it down.
who's playing because they've got a lot playing.
My girl Charlotte Hurst, I saw where she was a Gateway Tire Athlete of the Week over there playing a little lockdown cornerback. You recognize that last name?
Yes.
That's
yes.
Mark and Haley's daughter.
Absolutely.
Obviously, she got Haley's athletic ability.
Dad's toughness.
Yeah. Don't mess with Dad.
Great dude.
Great dude.
Don't.
But obviously has Haley's lateral movement if she's playing cornerback. But yeah, man, hey, that's big. Out there locking down the side of the field.
I love it how the local media outlets are giving recognition to the flag football.
Yeah, they've loved it.
I think it's great. Tate, always good to see you.
Yes.
Look forward to seeing you next week. We can talk about some of these results. And
Charles, you're good to go to Franklin this Sunday. We love Charles.
Love him. Nobody better.
Good man.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.